Welcome to Donington Park in Derbyshire for round 2 of the Thundersport GB Championships. In this show, the Aprilia Challenge will bring you all the action from the Aprilia Super Teens, the RRV 450s and the Super Twins. First up, let's catch up with one of the Super Teen contenders for 2014.
Joe Thompson, thanks for taking the time out to do this interview with us. Now, this is your 3rd year in Super Teens. What are your aims for this year?
Well, hopefully this year we'll be able to take the Super Teen Championship, but I've got a lot of competition with Rory Skinner and Jordan Boyle, but I'll try my best and hopefully we'll come out on top.
Yeah, now, obviously it's very easy to say our intention is to win the championship, but it's not as easy as it sounds, is it?
No, it's really not as easy as it sounds. You've got to push yourself to the limits when you're on track, and when you're training at the gym, you've got to make the absolute best out of what you've got, and you've just got to try your best.
Well, I mean, I've noticed that you've made the step up this year, and I mean, it's a huge step. You know, your confidence has gone through the roof, and I think that you can win this. But as I say, the key is going to be consistency.
Well, like they say, it's the finishers that win championships, and it's not all about all the wins that you get. It's about how many finishes you get. But obviously, a win would be nice. But I just want to finish all the races and pick up all the points.
Well, here we go then, down onto the grid for the first Aprilia Super Teen race here. Some blue skies and a few clouds out. And there is Joe Thompson, number 74. Sid just caught up with him a moment ago. He's got his eyes firmly fixed on the championship and just giving his sponsors a quick plug there as well, Teesdale Motorcycles. There is number 11 though, Rory Skinner, the championship leader after he left round 1 at Brands Hatch, the young Scotsman. Very quick indeed. And there, just running off the front row, is number 44, Ed Best, who didn't have perhaps the best time at Brands Hatch, but certainly a contender. Was very quick last year in the Nitro Newcomers. Green flag in the back and away we go. A decent start from Joe Thompson on the right of your screen, number 74. And it looks as though he's going to have the whole shot. He cuts to the inside, and that's Rory Skinner going around the outside, using all the exit of the pit lane as they turn into Redgate. The first turn here at Donington. It is the full GP circuit, so they will be using, of course, the Melbourne loop, but it's a decent start so far from Joe Thompson that Sid caught up with a moment ago. Number 74, a few wide lines there. That's number 69, David Ince, getting off to a decent start and moving up the inside down into the old hairpin. And here we come around Schwantz curve and into McLean's now. Oh, and that's number 74, and Thompson's dumped it already. He was leading the race, full of confidence when he spoke to Sid. He's up, he's walking away, but he will be frustrated. Second in the championship, and Joe Thompson's race is over before it started. He's tucked the front there going into McLean's. Not sure if he was slightly offline or whether he was just carrying too much speed into McLean's, but it's an uphill turn. There's usually plenty of grip there. Not the most obvious place to dump the machine, but the marshals are running over there. There's domestic Dave Jacks. We've got another faller, and that's another rider down here. We've got red flags. There's another rider down. I hope that rider is up and okay, but red flags are out there. That means we're going to get another restart here at Donington Park for the Aprilia Super Teens as they will get themselves ready and on the grid. So there is Rory Skinner, number 11. Of course, Joe Thompson won't take part now. There's a few empty gaps on that grid. A bit of a frantic first part of that race. You have to erase it from your memory, though, folks. This is going to be a 5-lap dash, a bit like World Supersport a few months ago from Phillip Island. 5 laps to decide the race winner here in the Aprilia Super Teens, and if you finish this race, you're pretty much guaranteed a point because the majority of them are missing. It is Rory Skinner that gets the whole shot this time into turn 1 ahead of Ed Best. Further back there is number 88, Jack Reed, who's a newcomer. You can tell the newcomers from the regulars because of the orange vests. But here we go down into Craner curves, and Skinner it is that has the lead, number 11. All of these bikes, of course, absolutely identical. 125cc Aprilia production machines. There's number 99 just getting through. Ooh, well, I say getting through, but it looks like he's gone on, he's gone straight on, and he's gone down. And Chris Gray has gone down, he's up, he's okay. It was a light fall, but he just outbraked himself there down into the old hairpin. Easy to do, a corner that tightens up on you, but he's up, he's lifted his bike away. Good lad. And, well, he'll have to have another go later on. It's Skinner that leads, number 11, down into the Foggy S's. In second place, number 44, Ed Best. And in third place there is Georgina Polden, number 27. What a ride that is from Georgina. She was a novice to this just last season. She had a big crash on the exit of the Melbourne Loop. We're about to approach that corner here just last year. But as an ex-motocrosser, she's hooked now to the tarmac. And she is coming on, and she's on for a podium here. She's got herself up there into third place, and the pair of them look to be just reeling in Rory Skinner. Further back we've got Tristan Finocchiaro, number 58, trying to get himself up in the action and tag along to the back of this group at the front. Also got Dan Drayton, number 34 out there, Cameron Tenzing Jenkins, or CTJ as he's known in the paddock, number 73. Leader of the newcomers so far is Shane Faber, number 24, from 10th on the grid. He's getting himself up there, and there's Miles Wasley, number 8, just moving up a place as well, down into Redgate Corner. But it's Rory Skinner that leads. Rory, of course, who arrived at Donington Park for the last round of Thundersport last year and wowed us with a fantastic victory ahead of Charlie Nesbitt in his first ever race weekend on an Aprilia. So it is one of those few circuits that he knows his way around. He's got this advantage. He is championship leader as it stands. And he's got about a half a second advantage at the moment over Ed Best and Georgina Polden in second and third place as they head onto the back straight here at Donington Park. They used to, of course, be the Dunlop Bridge just about now, but that's disappeared. And Ed Best in second, number 44, just broken away a touch from Georgina Polden and sets his sights on the race leader. Good helmet design that, isn't it? The Union Jack on the side of Ed Best's helmet there. In second place. Further back, that's number 5. That's Edgar Machado having a decent battle out there. George Anderson a bit further back, number 63. And also number 66, Cameron Fraser from Nottingham. And not very far for him to travel here to Donington Park. Back to the front of this race, though, it is Rory Skinner that leads from Ed Best and Georgina Polden. Ed Best from Market Harborough on the EBR Motorsport Aprilia. One of those riders that was making baby steps in terms of improvement last year, always up in the top 5 or 6. Doesn't push it too much, but he could well find himself battling for this championship by the end of the season. Georgina Polden, well, after a promising Brands Hatch, she ended the weekend in 4th place overall, but quite a few contenders ahead of her in the championship have fallen in that first part of the race. There's some big points on offer here for Georgina. Joe Thompson and Jordan Boyle AWOL from this race at the moment. They've gone absent without leave, and well, here we go. This is the battle for second place. It looks like these guys are going to fight it out for the 20 points because Skinner is very consistent out front. Further back, that is David Ince in 14th place, number 69, another rider that was an absolute novice last year, and this is second season in the Aprilia Super Teens. Good fight this, though, for second and third between Ed Best, number 44, and Georgina Polden. Further back, that's Cameron Tenzing Jenkins, number 73, just being overtaken there by number 8, Miles Wasley, as they head down into the Melbourne Loop. But back onto the start, finish straight to complete another lap. It is Rory Skinner, and he is he's lapping about a second quicker than anyone else at the moment as they go across the line. Last lap flag is out. And that lap record is so close. That corduroy, 154.95. Rory Skinner at the moment, a 154.96. So Skinner is on the money and looks good for this in terms of getting the victory. There is Cameron Tenzing Jenkins just going through Redgate, and then Miles Wasley. Number 24 there is Shane Faber in 7th overall, but leading the Nitro newcomers. And, well, in fact, that is Wasley just ahead of him. So it's Wasley that leads the Nitro newcomers, but Faber is on him, number 24, as they go through Craner curves. Just about flat out on an Aprilia 125 through there. They go down into the old hairpin and the somewhat diminished grid of the Aprilia 125s here. Well, the race is about to come to an end, and look at the lead that Skinner has. It would take a dramatic mistake now for there to be a different winner. Skinner is going to take a win and extend his championship lead surely here as they come down into the Foggy S's. What about second place, though? The purple wheels of Ed Best at the moment has the advantage. Number 44, there's a couple of chances left for Polden. She's got some decent drive, a decent bit of drive there out of the Foggy S's. Can she make it count further back? It is there. The change for the Nitro newcomer lead as number 24, Shane Faber, goes ahead of Miles Wasley and takes 7th place. Cameron Tenzing Jenkins just ahead of them, and then Daniel Drayton. So Finocchiaro and Drayton surely going to finish 4th and 5th, but the winner of race 1 here in the Aprilia Challenge is Rory Skinner. He extends his championship lead. 2nd place there is Ed Best. Now where's Georgina Polden disappeared to? She's just gone missing. I wonder whether she's gone for a last gasp move and it's gone wrong, but she has got across the line, but a mistake for sure. Just in the closing stage of that race. She will take a podium though, a really good result that from Georgina. Tristan Finocchiaro 4th ahead of Daniel Drayton and Cameron Tenzing Jenkins. And there are the 3 of them, Skinner, Best and Polden on the podium. And in the Nitro newcomers, it is Faber, Wasley and Jack Reed in 3rd place.
Okay, Jack Reed, 3rd place, Nitro newcomers. How did it go for you?
It was good. I got a good start and the other 2 just got away with me. I was going to try to stick with David to pull me along, but yeah, it was a good race. And I'd like to thank Dubman, Covers, Puterline Oil, BMN Construction, my mum and my dad.
Thank you very much. Miles Wasley, 2nd place, Nitro newcomers. Do you enjoy that one?
Yeah, it was a really good race. I had a nice little battle with Shane going on as well. I'd hope for like some more racing like that for the next race. And I'd like to thank my mum and dad, Aprilia Dunlop Thundersport and Replicast.
So how did the race go for you? Did you get a good start?
No, not really. I had problems with the clutch all day today, and I managed to keep with Miles, and yeah, I managed just to get him on the last lap, so really good. Yeah, I'd like to thank all my sponsors, Jordan and Faber Building Contractors, Lynx Cafe, Ash Honda, John Davis, all my other sponsors, Mum and Dad, and Dunlop Aprilia and Fun Sport.
Brilliant, well done Shane, thank you. Georgina Polden, fantastic to see you here on the podium. You must be chuffed to bits with that.
Yeah, really pleased with that. Luckily just got this on the last corner, the bike seemed to cut out. Managed to get it going again and just got it. So yeah, pleased with that. Yeah, I'd like to thank King Steel Centre, Puterline, Oxford Products, Steve at Weiss, Paula and Jeff, my mum and dad, Aprilia, Fun Sport and Dunlop.
Brilliant, well done George, thank you. Ed Best, 2nd place.
Yeah, great position for me. Great race, battling with Georgina most of the race. Rory just couldn't catch him, but maybe next race. I'd like to thank Harbour Autos and Spender's Motorcycles. Oh, and Aprilia, Thundersport and Dunlop.
Diamond, well done, thank you. Well, Mr. Skinner, that was fantastic. I suppose you did think you were actually going to win one this weekend.
Yeah, well, unfortunately Joe crashed on the first lap. A few other people, hope they're okay, but I got restarted. I just got away and just won it here. And I'd like to thank, I've forgotten, sorry. Skinner Motorcycles, Strathern Tyres, Scott's Bearings, Scott Leathers, Tokheim, Motrack Racing, and Bennett's for all their support. Also, I'd like to thank my dad, my mum, dad, Bill and Phil, and everybody else who supports me, and Thundersport for running a great meeting.
Well, thanks to Rory there. Race 2 of the Super Teens coming up later. After the break, though, don't go anywhere. The Bridgestone Super Twins and Mini Twins. Welcome back to the Aprilia Challenge here on Motors TV. It's time for the Bridgestone Super Twins and Mini Twins, and there's the championship leader on pole position, Daniel Freer on the blue and yellow Kawasaki. But it's a big welcome back to the Thundersport paddock for number 11, 2nd on the grid there, James Folkard. Really nice to see James back out there on the grid. 3rd on the grid there in the green, white, black colour scheme is Sam Wilford, but this class full of 450s, 550s, 650s. And down into turn 1, looked like a good start there from James Folkard. Look at this lot. There's 38 on the grid for this race as they all head down, and that's Talon Skeels Piggins, of course, one of the riders here that is paralysed, and we've had the story about that, the bike experience, and oh dear, there's a big crash down into Craner Curves already, and that's a monster crash on this opening lap. James Flasinski's just gone missing. I presume that that's Brad Vickers and Matt Truelove as well, number 59. and they're all getting up and hobbling away a bit. Let's have a look and see what happens. Well, I tell you what, that's actually quite lucky that there's only a couple involved, because that could have been a lot worse. In truth, there was one or two riders just going into Crane the Curves a bit hotter than they should have been. Down into the foggy S's, a few of them have settled in now. It's Folkard that has the advantage ahead of Freer, number 66. Nice move that from Dan Freer. Just caught a glimpse there also of number 68, Tom Neve from Lincoln on the DTM Kawasaki. Getting off to a decent start, but the two wheels behind me, look at all of these different lines down into the Melbourne Loop. How on earth have they stayed up? That's unbelievable as they come down into the Melbourne Loop, and Johan Mace, the Frenchman, number 85, almost wiping out the entire grid there down into the Melbourne Loop. So we started with 38, we're certainly not going to finish with them. As we go down into turn 1, there is James Folkard, number 11, on that beautifully turned out Aprilia RRV for 550. Daniel Freer in second place, but it's, well, there's all sorts of changes going on further back, as you can see. Got Aprilia 450s out there, Suzuki 650s, the Mini Twins as well. Sam Smith, championship leader, coming into this one, 1-1-1. But this is James Folkard, the only rider to have ever won an Aprilia Super Team Championship, as well as an Aprilia RRV 450 Championship. And after he won that 450 Championship, he went into, had a little look into British Championship, and was supposed to be riding in Spain this year on a Moto 2, but due to funding, it hasn't gone well, and that's a rider down. Is that Neve? It is. Number 68, Tom Neve, has gone down and out of this race. So it's another one that's bitten the dust here. He's up, he's walking away, he's just picking up the remains of his bikes. But, well, that's not good news there for Tom Neve. There's Sam Wilford, number 35, just up ahead of number 8, Lewis Rollo, and number 22, Alex Baker, as they head in. There's number 75 as well. That's James Popel. And number 19, Neil Schofield. Back to the front of this one, and Folkard's looking to check out. He has got the lead ahead of championship leader overall, number 66 there, Daniel Freer, who finished second in this championship last year. I'm sure he'll be over the moon to see what's going on out here at the front, but that is a wonderfully turned out machine, that ex-Supermoto 550 of James Folkard's. Further back there is number 26, Dan Taylor, currently fighting it out for the Mini Twin glory. He's in the top 15 overall, but is in the top 3 of the Mini Twin race. And in fact, I just put in the fastest lap of the Mini Twins. They're underneath the lap record. James Folkard has smashed the lap record for the Super Twins to smithereens, 1:39.8. Well, that beats Dan Freer's time from last year, 1:40.7. There is number 33, Ollie Brocklesby from Lincoln on the Ollie B Racing Suzuki. Another of the Mini Twins out there, currently around about 7th or 8th in the Mini Twin race. And onto the back straight we go. James Folkard, the Liverpool rider, riding on the in competition. Aprilia, such a lovely guy, James. Incredibly talented. Really, his championship winning rides over the years warrant a better ride over in British Championship. And as they go into the foggy S's, there's a change there as Alex Baker goes up ahead of Lewis Rollo. A lot of them have got company as well as we head into the foggy S's again further back. Ryan Kinning on the Team Race Tech Kawasaki 650. All sorts of battles going on, but it's Folkard that has the advantage here in this Super Twins and Mini Twins. I mentioned that he's an ex-450 champion. The 450 race is coming up after this break, and well, the 450 race is always providing good close racing action. It won't be quite like the one you're watching here, I'm sure. There's been some good action going on from those guys. Further back, there's Freer in second, Wilford in third. Wilford having a very good weekend. There's Lewis Rollo, and there's Johan Mace, the Frenchman, number 85 on the 650. So a Scotsman versus a Frenchman there, as they head through Hollywood and down into Craner Curves, and Alex Baker's just on top of the pair of them as well. And here comes a move now, a lovely move around the outside from Frenchman Johan Mace. He manages to get himself up into 4th place ahead of Lewis Rollo. And number 22, Alex Baker, looking a threat there as well, just behind them, number 22, as they head up towards Coppice Corner. Blind entry into Coppice. You can't quite see it from that camera angle, but it is completely blind until you tip into it. as we look further back at Aaron Clifford, number 119, Irish rider who's come up from the Super Teens. But look at this, backing it into the Melbourne Loop, James Folkard really can turn himself to anything. Any bike he jumps on, he's quick on it. And this particular Aprilia that has been built by Trevor Scott, known as T. Scott, of course, on the Scott and Stinson Aprilia, with help from Ian Newton as well, as always. He's got himself a ride this weekend with Thundersport GB, and it's great to have him out there. Daniel Freer had the better of him yesterday here at Donington Park, but the Weetabix has been eaten this morning, and it looks as though James is set for the rest of the season also on that machine. This is the battle for second. Now, Dan Freer had it in the bag earlier. Sam Wilford has closed the gap, but it's this third place battle that is the most intriguing, and Lewis Rollo up the inside into Redgate corner. Lewis Rollo suffered a huge crash here just last year in the 450s. In fact, he had quite a number of tumbles, so it's just about getting some consistency back at the moment for the young Scotsman, the former Aprilia Super Teen champion. So we've got two Super Teen champions, former Super Teen champions, out on the grid at the same time at the moment. They are having a proper ding-dong. There is Folkard, the race leader. He's got the lead of almost, well, not almost, the entire back straight here at Donington Park. So decent effort that from Folkard. Of course, he didn't enter round one, so despite the fact that he's quite dominant here, he won't leave the round as the championship leader. So Daniel Freer will still have quite a significant advantage. Just behind this group battling for the top 6, there's George Stanley, number 5. Matt Schillings, number 24 there, leading about 5 bikes. And number 15 as well, Harry Truelove on the mini-twin. Harry Truelove at the moment then is leading the mini-twin race. Last lap flag is out. Matt Schillings has come up from 16th on the grid. Reece Hutchinson's a part of that group as well, from 19th on the grid. They're in the top 8, but it's Folkard here who started second on the grid, and he's not looked back. He's managed to get the whole shot from there. He's not had to look over his shoulder, posting lap record upon lap record. There's Daniel Freer. He's going to be trying to get himself 20 points, and Sam Wilford, who really is going to be a dark horse this season, I think you'll find, in 3rd place. Who will get 4th though between Johan Mace, Alex Baker and Lewis Rollo? We'll find out in a moment, because we're coming up to about halfway through this final lap, and it's Mace at the moment, number 85, that has it. There's Rollo, number 8. Baker is yet to show his cards around the old hairpin up under Starkey's Bridge, and then around Schwantz Curve. Meanwhile, Folkard's already entering the Foggy S's and is coming up to some traffic. They exit the Foggy S's, or he does anyway, down into the Melbourne Loop, and he's not giving up despite the fact that he's got around about a 13-14 second lead and up towards Goddard's for the final time. What a comeback then for James Folkard. We've not seen him in this paddock for a while, but the checkered flag is out, and that was pretty easy, wasn't it, for James Folkard? I'm sure it'll get harder as the season goes on. There's no point looking around your shoulder there. Wait a couple of minutes and then have a look. James Folkard clears up here in the Bridgestone Super Twins and Mini Twins with a convincing victory ahead of Daniel Freer. Sam Wilford takes 3rd, a good solid podium for Sam, ahead of Johan Mace, the Frenchman. Alex Baker 5th. Lewis Rollo fell back in the end to 10. So it's George Stanley that's taken 6th, and there is the top 3 in the mini-twin. Sam Smith, the winner, ahead of Harry Truelove and Dan Taylor. And there is Mr. Folkard, the winner, ahead of Dan Freer and Sam Wilford.
Yeah, so I had a really good race today against Freer. Yesterday we had a good battle, but I was able to break away today. So I think we won by a fair gap. So the bike's working brilliant, all thanks to Trevor Scott from Scott and Stinson, and of course Ian Newton from In Competition. It's their bike and first time out, so they're definitely doing a good job to put a good bike under me. I'd like to thank Jorn as well for sending helmets over. Trying to think of other people. Of course, Thundersport and all the marshals, medicals and all the rest of it. They do a fantastic job here. And all family and everybody else. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the race went amazing. It was really aggressive, and it is just a great time to be out there. Haven't touched the bike since Brand, so yeah, it's working really well. Endless amounts of fun. Yesterday we had a few issues, but we sorted it out. Come fighting today. I'd like to say very well done to Harry Truelove. It came out of nowhere. He's broken the lap record, so good on him. I'd like to say huge thanks to Avon Tyres, all their help, CB Construction, groundwork, IP scaffolding, Kabuto helmets, held levers, and obviously the beautiful JHS racing team. Thank you very much to all.
Well, another race coming up for them a bit later. After the break, though, it's time for the in-competition Aprilia 450s. Welcome back. Nice day for a bit of motorcycle racing, and the Aprilia RRV 450s are out onto the grid. A decent sized grid here as well. There's a couple of other bikes out there to look out for as well. A couple of Moto 3s, a 125 as well. Charlie Nesbitt, in fact, former Super Teen rider from last year, is out on the grid. But pole position is Ben Luxton for the Aprilia 450s, ahead of Will Hodgson, who had a storming Brands Hatch round, number 14 there, and leads the championship. Third on the grid, Sam Wilford, number 35, just finished third a moment ago in the Super Twins race. But here we go, down into turn 1 for the 450s, and it's Will Hodgson that gets the whole shot, the championship leader, ahead of number 9, Ben Luxton there. Further back is number 164, it's Anthony Alonso from Barcelona. He's out there on a 125 GP bike, getting in a few laps, but it's Hodgson that leads from Luxton. And then it looks like Wilford in third on the green and black leathered machine. Well, he's got the green and black leathers on, but they're all the same machines, obviously. Number 35, yes, in fourth is 34, that's Louis Dawson. So that's a decent start from Louis Dawson, 7th on the grid, and Alex Baker, number 22, is up there as well. Alex Baker, don't forget, second in the championship, coming into Donington Park for round 2. Lewis Rollo is out there as well, a former Aprilia Super Teen champion. But it is Will Hodgson, number 14, that has this advantage. I don't quite know what Will has been up to in the closed season, but he's definitely done something right, because he's come out fighting this season, and he is on it. And there's a change for the lead as number 9, Ben Luxton, goes up ahead of Will Hodgson there, down into the Melbourne Loop. In fairness, Will did leave the door open, and Ben Luxton didn't need to be asked twice. He moves up into first place as they head up now towards Goddard. So it's Luxton now that leads from Hodgson, number 14. 35, Sam Wilford in third, then it's Louis Dawson in fourth. A bit of a gap back to Lewis Rollo, who's in 5th place. Then it's Alex Baker, George Stanley, Dean Court, Cameron Lee. Nice to see Cameron up there. Zach Corduroy, last year's Aprilia Super Teen champion, rounds off your top 10. Down into Craner Curves we go. Number 9, Ben Luxton, who had a fantastic end to the season on the JDF Aprilia and won a couple of races here at Donington. Not sure even he expected to see Will Hodgson as his immediate contender, and they're side by side going around Schwantz Curve. What a move from Will Hodgson. That was flat out around Schwantz Curve. He went around the outside, which gave him the inside line for McLean's, and so Will Hodgson retakes the lead here in the Aprilia 450s as they head up into the blind entry point of Coppice Corner and down the back straight. They're side by side once more, and no slipstream needed, because they are going to be bashing elbows down into Foggy S's, and Will Hodgson just about has the advantage here. They're keeping it nice and clean so far, giving each other plenty of room. I wonder how long that will last as they go down into the Melbourne Loop. Still Hodgson and Luxton. Louis Dawson there, number 34 in fourth. Thought about a move up the inside of Sam Wilford there. Number 35. Sam has come on so much, it is unbelievable. Number 35 on the IDWE Aprilia. Great to see his development. So we've got 2 groups of 4. The top 4 and then places 5th to 8th. And around the outside, no, come on Will. Surely that's not going to work. And here he goes, he's having a look. He's going to use all the rumble strips, and that will just lose him about half a tenth. Further back there is Gideon Thomas, number 65. Number 93 is Matt Rangeli. Number 96, Connor Wheeler. Got Gideon Thomas there and James Popel also in the mix. Back to the front though. It's Hodgson. Just Ben Luxton thought about repaying the favour up the inside of McLean's there as they now head up into Coppice. A couple of different lines you can take into Coppice. The tight line if you're going to make an overtaking manoeuvre, or the nice wide sweeping line that gives you plenty of drive. Down the back straight, and Luxton has got that, and he takes the lead here on the back straight. But as they head into the Foggy S's, yes, he's just got it. Sam Wilford still in third place there, number 35, and Louis Dawson in fourth. Sam Wilford is 5th in the championship coming into this round, but only a couple of points ahead of Louis Dawson. As you see further back there is Sam Edwards, number 32 on the AP Broom Racing Aprilia. Nice colour scheme on that one. 75, mentioned just a moment ago, James Popel, just outside the top 20. Charlie Nesbitt is out there, number 86, a rider who was new onto the scene last year. But look at this battle at the front. How on earth do you manage to go around the outside into Redgate Corner? Well, Will Hodgson, who had, if you look back at through the Thundersport GB archives here at Donington Park, the most monumental crash about here. Just picked the bike up, went straight on, carved through a load of machines, went straight into the tyre wall. Well, it's a very different Will Hodgson we're looking at 6 years later as they come around the Schwantz curve and up into McLean's. Whilst these two guys tussle it out for first place, you just wonder whether Sam Wilford can use his initiative and move a bit closer. Further back there is 164. That's Alonso from Barcelona, and number 77, Ryan McAdam. They're just behind Aaron Clifford. It's Luxton that did have the advantage. It's Hodgson that moves back out into the lead again. There's been about 12 or 13 overtakes for the lead here already. You can't split them as they head down into the Melbourne Loop, and it's Luxton now that retakes the lead. Well, should we just shush for a moment and just watch them, because they're taking it in turns to lead as they exit the Melbourne Loop and head up towards Goddard's. So it's still Ben Luxton that has this advantage. Realistically, the most important moment that we're going to see is who regularly leads coming out of the final corner, because that's where it matters. Yes, Will Hodgson is quick into Redgate. Yes, he's quick into the Foggy S's, but unless he's got the better of Ben Luxton going into Goddard's, he's not going to win this race. Further back is 48, number 2. 48 there, Reece Hutchinson, and number 2, of course, Zach Corduroy with the black and yellow leathers on, the current reigning Aprilia Super Team champion. They're battling it out for 9th, 10th, 11th. Cameron Lee's in there as well. Dean Court, and then that Moto3 machine of Charlie Nesbitt. There is the sky blue 125cc two-stroke of Anthony Alonso on the SP125 Racing Honda, rider from Barcelona. Also looking out for Daniel Costilla, who was supposed to be out in this race from California on the Replicast UK Honda, but he's not in this race at the moment. But it is Will Hodgson at the front that has the advantage, the championship leader, ahead of Ben Luxton on circuit. Further back there's Cameron Lee, number 58, Reece Hutchinson, number 48 there, just going up underneath last year's Aprilia Super Team champion, and Corduroy bites back. But to the front of it, it is still Hodgson that has the advantage of Luxton. Now this is the critical point as they come up towards Goddard's. That is where it matters most. This is a good battle going on. Curtis Drew's in there as well, as you just mentioned, 101 up into 12th place, just ahead of Charlie Nesbitt, so there's some points on offer. Last lap flag out, and at the moment it's advantage Hodgson as they head into Redgate Corner, and after turn 1 it's still advantage Hodgson. They now go flat out through Hollywood and then dip down into Craner Curves, and all the while now Ben Luxton looking for an opportunity. He's not close enough to do it there. He's going to have to just sit behind Will as they go around the old hairpin and hope that Will makes a mistake. Up and around Schwantz Curve we go. He's not going to be close enough to do it into McLean's either, but if he can get some decent drive out of Coppice, which is coming up next, he needs to just take a nice wide sweeping line and then try and get on the power just that bit earlier than Will Hodgson. Onto the back straight we go then. And it's going to be one of these two, surely, that wins it. Wilford looks good for third in the background, ahead of Louis Dawson. Then it's Baker in fifth, and here comes Luxton. Does he do it up the inside? No. Will Hodgson says, no, you don't. He leaves it late to break, and now there's just a couple of moves left, surely. This is the battle between George Stanley and Lewis Rollo for 6th and 7th. But down into the Melbourne Loop, he had to do it, and he has done it. He's pulled the trigger. It's a lovely move from Ben Luxton, and he drifts Will out wide, and Will has a moment from the rear end. They go up towards Goddard's, and surely that's it now. Will Hodgson's going to have a look into Goddard's. They're side by side as they exit the final turn. What a race, and Ben Luxton takes it. Don't look over your left shoulder. He's on your right. Fantastic racing here from the Aprilia 450s. About 30 or 40 overtaking manoeuvres in that race. 2/10 split Ben Luxton and Will Hodgson there. Sam Wilford in third. A good podium for him ahead of Louis Dawson, Alex Baker and Lewis Rollo. And the good news is, folks, there's more of that to come a bit later. The winner, Ben Luxton.
Sam Wilford, third place. You're in your own battle there. I mean, you must have enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good race. I was battling with Louis Dawson, and I had a bad start, but I just lost these two, and then yeah.
But nevertheless, I mean, you've come a long way now, and you must be pleased with your progress now.
Yeah, had a good year. Started off last year on the 450 and had a few good rounds, and yeah, just hope to stay with these two next race.
You got some sponsors you'd like to thank?
Yeah, definitely Ian Newton for lending us the bike this weekend because my bike blew up in qualifying. My dad, Jody, Silkaleen, and all of in competition.
Will Hodgson. Well, that was a tough race, man. I mean, so close.
We're swapping positions pretty much every corner. I mean, with Ben and the rest of the boys, all I seen was Ben keep coming past, and I knew the other lads wouldn't be far behind because they've been on the pace all weekend. But he's got me. He's pretty good into Goddards there, so I'm gonna see if I can pull something out the bag for the next one. But either way, I'm just so happy just to be here, whether it's first, second, third, or fourth. If you have a race like that, you know, it makes it all the worthwhile.
Well, that was certainly anybody's race. Who would you like to thank, mate?
I'd like to thank In Competition, Ian, Myra, Gibbo, Ron Hodgson Specialist Cars, Nitro Helmets, Colroyd, and Jimmy, Silkaleen, Thundersport, Bridgestone, Aprilia, all the marshals and medics and everyone that puts the time in to make it such a good championship.
Ben Luxton, fantastic bit of racing. I mean, you're having a great weekend anyway, but to be racing that closely with the likes of Will, you must have so much respect for one another.
Yeah, definitely. The racing was so clean. We had an absolute great race. Like Will said, we were changing positions every single corner. It was just crazy, but yeah, I'm having a really great weekend.
Well, I could almost see the smile through your helmet, actually. That was unbelievable. Have you got some people you'd like to thank?
Yeah, my team, John JDF, for making an absolute perfect bike. My Montgomery and Gunner, because we wouldn't be here without them. Stephen Khan Systematic Instruments, and everyone else to help me out.
Ben, congratulations. Look forward to the next one.
Cheers, thank you.
Yeah, two right. Can't wait for race 2. Join us again after the break, though, for the second race of the Dunlop Aprilia Super Teams. The second Aprilia Super Teen race here at Donington Park. The final Aprilia Super Teen race for Donington for now. And there's shrugged shoulders of Joe Thompson, wondering what went wrong in race 1 there as he tipped off into McLean's and turned on the first lap, sorry. Rory Skinner then, the championship leader, second on the grid, number 11. Third on the grid, Ed Best, number 44, who took third in that race, second in that race, sorry, ahead of Georgina Polden. Right then, folks, Super Teenies, stay on the saddle for this one. There's still a few gaps missing here. Look at the angle that Rory Skinner, number 11, has got his bike. He is fully intending on trying to get the whole shot here ahead of Joe Thompson as they head down into turn 1. We've got someone that's stalled in the background there. Not sure who that is. I think it might be Cameron Fraser, but down into turn 1, it is going to be Rory Skinner, and all the angling of the bikes worked out very well indeed as they head down into turn 1. There's 71 Freddie Crane, a newcomer for this season, but it's Rory Skinner, the championship leader, that has the early advantage ahead of Ed Best. Joe Thompson in third place, number 74. He cannot afford another DNF here, otherwise Skinner will leave Donington with a huge lead. Number 100 there with a green backboard. That's a development machine, a Shinrai 250 of Connor Tagg. So he won't feature necessarily in the championship overall. Don't worry too much about that one. But Connor is actually an ex-Super Team, so I'm sure he's having some fun out there. At the front of this race, it is Rory Skinner, number 11, that has the advantage. Many would have probably put the money on Skinner to be the champion of this class for this season, but he certainly has some competition. Just look over his shoulder there. 3 men and a lady. It is Ed Best, number 44, number 74 Joe Thompson, 37 Jordan Boyle, and then the female of the group, 27 Georgina Polden, who picked up the first podium of the season in race 1, number 27 she's sporting, and Tristan Finocchiaro is there. Thought about a look up the inside. Daniel Drayton, number 34, also up inside the top 8. So any one of those riders really could be picking up victories for this season in the Aprilia Super Teens, and Rory Skinner's early advantage looks to be gone as he goes across the line ahead of Ed Best, number 44, and Joe Thompson there in number 74. The pole sitter is trying to make a move now down into turn 1. Jordan Boyle, number 37, with the yellow wheels, failed to finish race 1, so it's important for him to pick up some points as well. And Georgina Polden there, number 27, just keeping an eye on what's going on ahead of her at the moment. Down through Craner Curves we go. Rory Skinner, can anyone get the better of the young Scotsman? There is Ed Best in second, and Jordan Boyle, number 37, has moved up ahead of Joe Thompson now, number 74. Thompson will be eager to get those 2 wheels across the line for this race, so as little contact as possible is preferable here for Thompson. He desperately needs to pick up some juicy points in this race. Just to, you know, championships can't be won in the first couple of rounds, but they can certainly be lost. And so just picking up some decent points here and getting themselves ready for Snetterton, which is the next round. And Thompson has made a good lap here. He was in 4th. He's now going to move up into 2nd place. Yes, Snetterton in Norfolk, the next round for the Thundersport GB Championship in early May. So it'll be on your screens around mid-May. Be sure to join us for that. It's Skinner that leads from Thompson. Ed Best there in the purple wheels in 3rd place. I'm delighted to say that the top 5 have all decided to go for different coloured wheels this season, which makes our lives incredibly easy. Sometimes these bikes all look the same. There goes across the line number 66, Cameron Fraser, who stalled on that first lap. But it is still Skinner that has the advantage here, ahead of 74 Joe Thompson, Ed Best 44 in 3rd, Jordan Boyle in 4th. Georgina Polden has just been dropped slightly in 5th. She's just gone across the line, and she's lapping about half a second slower than these guys at the moment. Joe Thompson, what a lap that was from Thompson. I mean, the lap record before we came here this weekend was a 1:54.9 from Zach Corduroy. Joe Thompson there, 53.4. That's a second and a half quicker than Corduroy's lap record from last season. So Thompson is a man on a mission. And look at the speed of the bike on the exit there of the old hairpin. Really got some decent drive as they come through some traffic, and Joe Thompson dealing with it well. So he closes up now onto the back of Rory Skinner's machine. Skinner will have a pit board to just tell him what's going on as we look further back at the other battles going on in this race. Dan Drayton is in 6th, Tristan Finocchiaro is in 7th. Oh, we've got someone down there, and who is that? Looks like Cameron Tenting Jenkins. He's got himself wedged under the bike there. He is okay, I think. Yeah, he's just got his leg trapped under. Cameron Tenting Jenkins, who was up in the top 10 of the championship, has gone out of this race. He was battling for 8th place. So as it stands, behind Polden, Drayton is in 6th. There is Drayton. He's just moved up ahead of Tristan Finocchiaro. Miles Wassley leads the newcomers. There's number 93. And that is Thomas Burnett, rider from Ramsey in the Isle of Man. But back to the front we go. Rory Skinner just about has the advantage over Joe Thompson. He's got his head tucked under that front screen on this Aprilia. Determined rider looking to get a victory here to make up for that fall in race 1. There's Tristan Finocchiaro with the white wheels, sporting number 58, his hero, and no surprise when you see the number on the bike, Marco Simoncelli, the late Marco Simoncelli, and that's why he sports the number 58. He is half Italian, hence the name as well. It's not exactly you know, your regular English name, Finocchiaro. So lovely lad, and he's going well so far in this race, up in the top 7. Skinner it is that has the advantage, number 11, as they tip into Coppice Corner ahead of Joe Thompson. Then there's a good gap now of around about 3 seconds back to the battle for 3rd between Ed Best and Jordan Boyle. Here comes Joe Thompson. He's going to move up the inside, surely. No, Skinner leaves it late and closes the door. It's Scotland versus England here at the front of this Aprilia Super Teen race as they head down towards the Melbourne Loop. And Joe Thompson just trying to work out whereabouts he can make a move. That's if he can. It's one thing catching a rider, it's another trying to overtake. Further back, that's Dan Drayton, number 34, up ahead of 58, Tristan Finocchiaro. Both of those guys were newcomers to this class last season. But the last lap flag is out, so if Joe Thompson's going to win this, he's going to have to do it here on this final lap. There's a good 0.3 of a second to find as they go into turn 1. Most of those are prettiers, using all the exit of pit lane there, just to give themselves a nice wide swooping line into Redgate Corner through Hollywood, then flat out down into Craner Curves. This is still the battle going on for 6th place. A bit further up the road of Drayton is Georgina Polden in a solid but lonely 5th place. Skinner it is that has the advantage here. Underneath Starkey's Bridge, around Schwantz Curve. Thompson has definitely closed that gap down, so maybe lining himself up for a move. These bikes are pretty much identical, and in terms of speed, I mean, you know, when you get 2 bikes out of the crate, they can't be absolutely identical, but you get my drift. There's Finocchiaro. Is he going to have a look up the inside of Drayton? No, Drayton was committed to that corner, and he regained 6th place. There is number 71. Freddie Crane on for a solitary point at the moment ahead of George Anderson, a newcomer, number 63, and they're getting mixed up here down the back straight. It looked like Thompson might have just had it, but on the brake, Skinner has got the advantage. He uses all the curve there on the exit. That might just slow him down a bit. Thompson might still have a stab at this, and further back, Tristan Finocchiaro goes up underneath Daniel Drayton and moves up into 6th place as they head to the last few corners. Joe Thompson can't do it into the Melbourne Loop, so his only choice now is to try and make a move up underneath Rory Skinner or around the outside into Goddard. Who's going to win this one here? Your second Aprilia Super Team race has been a lot closer than the first, but I think it's going to be Rory Skinner. It is. Skinner takes it and extends his championship lead ahead of Joe Thompson, who lifts his arm up. 20 points will do. It's Ed Best in 3rd and a frustrated Jordan Boyle in 4th, who's just missed out on the podium place there after missing out on any points at all in race 1. Georgina Polden has crossed the line in 5th, so she'll leave this round with a healthy chunk of points, and then it is Daniel Drayton in 6th place. Tristan Finocchiaro in 7th, so Drayton did get Finocchiaro back just before the line. Miles Wassley has won the Nitro Newcomers ahead of Shane Faber, but there's your top 3 overall: Skinner, Thompson and Best. And in the newcomers, Wassley, Faber and Edgar Machado. So the points then heading into Snetterton, 30 points the advantage between Skinner and Thompson. So that DNF in race run 1 really did cost Thompson. Jordan Boyle in 3rd, ahead of Georgina Polden. And the newcomers, Faber it is with the early season lead, ahead of Miles Wassley, Booth, TJ Toms, Jack Reed, Edgar Machado in 6th.
Aprilia Super Teams, Nitro Newcomers, Edgar Machado. Fantastic name, fantastic position. Well done. How'd it go?
It went good. Me and Jack Reed had a very good fight to the end.
You did? And what sponsors would you like to thank, apart from Keys Motorcycles?
I'd like to thank firstly my parents. They've worked hard. RI Helmets, Kimmer Production, especially Danny John Jules, Roots, Ron Aslam Race School.
Shane Faber, 2nd place. You must be pleased with that.
Yeah, it's a really good race. I had a really good battle for with Miles right to the last corner, so yeah.
And the winner, Miles Wassley. Wow, fantastic, eh?
Yeah, it was a really good race. I had a good little battle with Shane on the last corner, and it was a really good race.
3rd place, you must be chuffed.
Yeah, it's great. Last race, Joe fell off, so it wasn't quite right, but now this race, good result, happy with how I finished. Just bring on Snetterton.
So you've had a bit of a turbulent day, fell off in that last one. What happened with that?
Well, I went into it, I was running a bit too hot and lost the front. It was a pretty big crash. You might have got it on TV, but in that race, it was a really close race with Rory. I went down into sort of like 5th to 6th position at one point, but I managed to get it back up, and it was a brilliant race.
No, actually, you've totaled the camera. We can't get anything off it. But anyway, but this one, you've come to 2nd. You must be pleased with that.
Yeah, Yeah, I am really pleased with it, as we got 2 wins, which is pretty good for points, but I lost them when I crashed. But I would just like to say a big thanks to all my sponsors: Teesdale Motorcycles, Thompson's Fish Restaurants. A big thanks to my dad, because when I crashed my bike, he did an amazing job fixing it.
Rory Skinner, You must be chuffed now because, I mean, it's been a tough weekend for you. You haven't quite been able to get the top spot very easily.
Yeah, that was the closest race of the weekend. Me and Joe were just battling every corner. Joe, I broke the lap record penultimate lap, and then Joe pipped me next lap, so yeah.
Nice Superman neckerchief there as well. Skinner has the advantage as we head into Snetterton next. Join us again after the break for more action. Welcome back to the Aprilia Challenge here, Thundersport GB Round 2 of the 2014 season. The Bridgestone Super Twins and Mini Twins. James Folkard cleared up in race 1. Can he do the same again? There he is, number 11, rider from Liverpool. Dan Freer it is that leads the championship overall, and got a second place in race 1, so extends that championship lead. There's Sam Wilford, who was third in race 1, and there's Alex Baker, who's up in the top 3 of the championship. Tom Neve, number 68, who fell in race 1, and Johan Mace, the Frenchman, also there in shot, number 85 on the JHS Racing Suzuki. Away we go then here, ready for the race here at Donington Park, race 2. Good start that from Folkard once more as he gets up alongside Daniel Freer, and it's going to be Folkard that gets the whole shot down into turn 1 ahead of Daniel Freer and Sam Wilford. Further back, we see there number 99, Lee Winters, Talon Skills, Piggins on the Mini Twins, tussling it out. 3 or 4 riders that haven't made the grid that finished race 1. Of course, we did have a few that didn't finish race 1, should I say. We had a few fallers down into Craner Curves. This time around, they're all through cleanly. Just got a quick glimpse there of number 56, Kevin Barsby, going into the old hairpin up ahead of Charles Day and Adrian Pendrill. But it is James Folkard with the early advantage. Now then, can Daniel Freer get up close and personal with him in this race? He absolutely stormed race 1 on the Aprilia 550. Is there much difference in terms of speed? Not a right lot, is there? So it's going to be an interesting race this between Folkard and Dan Freer in second place. And then a good lump of Aprilia 450s there for fourth, but it's Johan Mace actually on the Suzuki, just going around the outside. That's Alex Baker, good move there from Sam Wilford, number 35, who goes up the inside of 68, Tom Neve, who fell in race 1. A couple other 450s out there to mention. Matt Schillings, who started 19th on the grid, really made progress in race 1. And there's a change there, and where the heck has number 66, Dan Freer, gone? He's disappeared, and so the championship leader is gone. It looked like we might have a close race there, but we've been robbed of it. Daniel Freer has gone missing between the Melbourne Loop and the start-finish straight, so James Folkard is out in front all alone, and he's already got an enormous lead there ahead of number 22, Alex Baker. There's third place man, Sam Wilford. Then number 68, Tom Neve. So Tom Neve doing well on the 650 yet again on the Kawasaki. Not sure what's happened to Dan Freer. He's not one of those riders that you see falling very often, so maybe he's got a mechanical and pulled into pit lane, who knows. Either way, it's not going to help out his championship chances. Folkard it is that leads, number 11 on the T. Scott prepared Aprilia 550. Sounds beautiful as he exits the foggy S's. Further back there is Matt Schillings, up ahead of number 15. That's Harry Truelove from Lincoln. Matt Schillings started, as I mentioned, in 16th place, and he's got himself up into the top 10 at the moment overall. Onto the start-finish straight comes Folkard, and look at the size of the lead he's got as he comes across the start-finish straight. There is second place rider Alex Baker, who came into this weekend with third overall. Just a quick mention for Brad Peary, by the way. Bradley Peary, who would normally be in this race and ended Brands Hatch second overall in the championship. Unfortunately for him, his engine went. They were doing some dyno testing a couple of days before this event. Oh, there's a few wobbles going on there on the exit of turn 1. Yes, Brad Peary dyno testing a couple of days before this event here at Donington, and the engine went, which is terribly sad news for him. So he's not here. Hopefully they'll be back for Snetterton, but the rider that was second in the championship, unfortunately not going to score any points this weekend. There's number 8, Lewis Rollo, currently in the top 6. Not quite seen the best of Lewis Rollo, you feel, just yet. Maybe he'll come into form in a couple of rounds' time, but he's not been quite where we expect to see him. He was so dominant in the Aprilia Super Teens a couple of years back. There's George Stanley, number 5, just about to be overtaken by number 85, the Frenchman Johan Mace, that goes up the inside of him on the JHS Racing Suzuki, and then Tom Neve has just fallen back a little, number 68 on the Kawasaki. This is second place man Baker, then it's Wilford, Rollo, Stanley back up the inside of Mace, and then Tom Neve. Oh my word! Tom Neve out of the saddle. Hats off, and a round of applause please for Tom Neve, because how he's managed to stay on that I do not know. Buckaroo style out of the Melbourne Loop. Well, he dumped it in race 1. He's done his best to try and do the same again in race 2, but this time manages to save it. Tom Neve, who is mentored by Phil Crow, well, struggling there on the exit of the hairpin, but manages just about to hang on, so his heart will be in his mouth. And he manages to stay in this race. This is the battle now between George Stanley and Lewis Rollo, number 5 and number 8. George Stanley, a rider that started out in the Super Teens, cheeky chappy off circuit, won the Riders' Rider Award, which gets voted by other riders. So he's a bit of a gent in the paddock. There is 63 and 32. Nice move there from number 32, Sam Edwards, getting past 63, and here we are now on board with Sam. Nice on-board shot as number 63 there, Jason Markham, goes a rack around the outside of him up into Schwann's curve, and he's been dumped by Dan Taylor as well into McLean's. Now this will give you a proper glimpse here of how blind the entry point is into McLean, into Coppish. You see that? You cannot see the curb on the inside, but some lovely on-board shots there from Sam Edwards' machine as Mace, who's pulled away from Stanley and Rollo, now gets past Sam Wilford as well and moves up into 3rd place. The last lap flag is out, and it is still James Folkard that leads. He's just put a lap on Adrian Pendrell there in the background, but he's 14 seconds clear of Alex Baker in 2nd overall. So this is absolute dominance from James Folkard, but it is wonderful to have him back in the paddock. It's a shame for Dan Freer though, because I think that Dan fancied himself for this race, and it could have been a proper ding-dong at the front, but not to be. Folkard then half a lap to go as he's about to come up to Giles Day and put a lap on the mini-twin rider. Talking of mini-twins, Sam Smith at the moment just has about a couple of tenths advantage over Lee Wainwright for the mini-twin victory overall, and Matthew Truelove is a good 13 seconds ahead of Jason Markham when it comes to the battle for 3rd. There's Talanskiel's Piggins, number 74, on the Suzuki mini-twin. Paralysed rider who absolutely loves travelling around the Thundersport GB calendar and is not a slouch either. He's currently in a battle with Lee Winters and Adrian Pendrell. There is James Folkard though. He's surely going to win this race. This is the battle for 3rd. Johan Mace, the Frenchman, looks odds on to take it. He's a bit of chatter there from the front end though as they go through the foggy S's, and Wilford's going to have to settle for 4th. The checkered flag is out, and an attempt at a wheelie there from James Folkard. Very, very good day at the office there from the rider from Liverpool, and he wins this race by 15.3 seconds ahead of Alex Baker. Johan Mace in 3rd, Sam Wilford 4th, Lewis Rollo in 5th place. He managed to finish ahead of George Stanley in the end. In 7th place overall and winning the mini-twins was Sam Smith. But there is the top 3 overall, Folkard, Baker and Mason. Then in the mini-twins it's Sam Smith, Lee Wainwright and Matthew Truelove. And what about the points heading into Snetterton then? That DNF has cost Daniel Freer, but he still leads overall ahead of Wilford, Baker, Mace, Stanley and Tom Neve. And in the mini-twins, Sam Smith takes a nice 44-point advantage into Snetterton ahead of Daniel Taylor, Truelove, Neve, Wainwright and Jason Markham.
Also digital mini-twins winner, Sam Smith. Fantastic win there for you.
Yeah, it was really difficult all the way through the race. On the first lap, we ended up coming out of Melbourne Loop and almost high, so it ended up on the grass. So set myself back to 4th in the mini twins, so we had to come back and fight for it. But it was a great race. Loved every single minute of it. I think it's the hardest I've worked all year, but I've loved it. Loved every single minute of it. I hope everyone who come off in that race is okay, especially Harry. I hope he's all right.
Bridgestone Super Twins winner James Fulcard and new lap record holder. Well done.
Yeah, happy days. I know Trevor will be over the moon with that for sure. But yeah, 2 wins today, really good. The bike's stronger and better than ever, as always, you know, with Trevor and Ian on the job. It's fantastic. No, it's all going to plan, hopefully for Snetterton. And we're actually planning on doing some road racing also, which is new to me. But we'll see how it all goes.
Join us again after the break for race 2 in the in-competition Aprilia RRV 450s. Here we are then for the final part of the Aprilia Challenge here on Motors TV, and it looks like we may have saved the best till last, because if this race is anything like the first, then we're in for a cracker. The Aprilia RRV 450s, the GP3s are out there as well. Charlie Nesbitt and Anthony Alonso also part of this grid, but it's all about who can get the win here between Ben Luxton, number 9, Will Hodgson, number 14. Can anyone else join in the party as well? Got Lewis Rollo out there, number 8, Louis Dawson, number 34, Sam Wilford, number 35, Alex Baker, 22, George Stanley, number 5. All of these guys have got chances of getting themselves on the podium. But Hodgson and Luxton so far look the class of the field as they head down towards turn 1. And it's going to be Hodgson just, I think, with the advantage. But Luxton looked to have a nice sweeping line into Redgate Corner as all of the riders make it through turn 1 nice, neat and cleanly. And it is Hodgson that leads into Craner Curves and down in towards the old hairpin. Lewis Rollo's got himself up into 3rd place. Sam Wilford 4th. There is 77. That's Ryan McAdam going up the inside of Matt Rangeli, and then Connor Wheeler. Hodgson it is that leads though from Luxton and Lewis Rollo. There's carnage for 4th place just behind them. I think that's Louis Dawson that's managed to get himself up into 4th place. Sam Wilford not quite as good a start this time as he had in the first race. He's back in 6th or 7th place, just ahead of Cameron Lee. But it is Will Hodgson that has the early advantage. Number 14 ahead of the JDF colours of number 9 Ben Luxton. There's Zach Corduroy, number 2 with the yellow and black leathers. He leads, he won, the Aprilia Super Team Championship last year. Is there going to be a change for the lead down into into the Melbourne Loop? Well, there's Dean Court. He makes up a place going up underneath Curtis Drew. But it looks as though the top 2 have stayed the same. Will Hodgson it is that will lead. No, it's not. It's Ben Luxton, number 9. Ben Luxton and Will Hodgson side by side. Then it's Lewis Rollo in 3rd, number 8. Number 34 in 4th is Louis Dawson. Then it is George Stanley, number 5. Although it looks as though Alex Baker, number 22, has just gone up the inside of him as well. Great racing this from the Aprilia RRV 450s. And when they get in a train like this, you just cannot split them apart. Will Hodgson, do not look over your shoulder. You have got a freight train of bikes charging towards your rear wheel, but it is Hodgson that has the advantage here as they go under Starkey's Bridge, around Schwantz Curve and into McLean's. Nice lines and a good start to the season so far from Will Hodgson, who led after Brands Hatch. So far though, he can't quite get the better of Ben Luxton, who has been using all of his craft to win these races in the last moment or two. Lewis Rollo, certainly no stranger to taking the top step of the podium, having won the Aprilia Super Team Championship a couple of years back. And there is Louis Dawson, who was involved in many of these races last season, number 34. Down into the Melbourne Loop we go. And oh my word, look at this. George Stanley up the inside, and then someone around the outside as well. Matt Schillings is looking to join in the group as well, number 24. That's a good start from him. 13th on the grid he was. Luxton somehow, how are these staying on? It's Luxton that leads from Hodgson. Dawson 3rd, Rollo 4th, and then in 5th place Alex Baker, then George Stanley and Sam Wilford. Down into Redgate Corner they go. It's really, you would be bonkers to bet on the winner of this 450 race. Further back, we saw Charlie Nesbitt going through, and we've got Reece Hutchinson there, Sam Edwards, Will Keynes. There is number 96. That is Connor Wheeler. But back to the front we go, and Hodgson and Luxton somehow have managed to give themselves a bit of breathing space. When I say breathing space, I'm talking about probably 2 or 3 tenths away from the pack. Their lap times from race 1 would have them edging away from these guys, but in the early stages they've not been able to shake them, as we just saw a quick shot there of Aaron Clifford going through, and there's the 125 bike of Anthony Alonso, number 164. Hodgson and Luxton, the class of the field, just breaking away now from Louis Dawson in 3rd place. There is Charlie Nesbitt, number 86, the pint-sized rider with a Scott Redding replica helmet on the Replicast machine, entering the BSB class for this season. And there's Lewis Rollo up the inside of number 5, George Stanley, and George Stanley bites back. That is the fight for 4th place. At the front though, still Will Hodgson and Ben Luxton, and if anyone deserves a win from this, it is Will Hodgson, but Ben Luxton just not letting him have a chance so far. Further back, there's Sam Wilford, a nice move. He went up the inside. Well, he's actually been bullied out of that one, because he tried to go up the inside of Alex Baker and it just went a bit wrong. He almost hit another rider up the backside and then had to sit up. So Wilford's momentum not quite as strong in this race as it was earlier on. Hodgson still with the advantage. Number 14, rider from Wigan, sponsored by Ron Hodgson Cars, a regular in the Thundersport GB paddock. One of the first riders to ever jump on a 450, in fact. Back in 2008, he got his own Honda, and then he became the development rider for Ian Newton and In Competition when the 450 was first introduced, and was teammates with Rob Ellesmere, and has stuck with it ever since, but he's not had a season quite as strong as he's having here. And he leads Ben Luxton, then a bit of a gap back to number 34 there, Louis Dawson, number 8, Lewis Rollo, number 22, Alex Baker. Down into the Melbourne Loop though. Nice move that from Ben Luxton, and this is the great thing about these guys. They're up close and personal, but it never gets nasty. They're almost scraping elbows, but they're keeping the respect out there as it stands. Last lap flag out, and Ben Luxton has showed his card early this time. This time last race, it was Will Hodgson that had the advantage, and Will going around the outside into turn 1. What a move by Will Hodgson. How has he made that possible? Well, I thought he might leave it a bit later to do that, but no. They have both got the cards out now, and they are side by side down through Craner Curves. There's surely only one line through there. Down now into the old hairpin. Will Hodgson settling in 2nd place, but he's going to have a look now as they shoot off around Schwantz Curve, which will be flat out on these 450s. They're side by side again. It's a lovely move up the inside into McLean's there from Hodgson, ahead of Ben Luxton. So Ben is going to have to line up another move now. Will he do the same as he did in race 1 and leave it until the Melbourne Loop? Onto the back straight they come. Hodgson it is that leads from Ben Luxton. Side by side once more. And it's going to be Hodgson surely that just has it. Ben Luxton now then. 2 corners left to try and pull the pin and win this race, and it's going to have a look surely down into the Melbourne Loop. Will Hodgson leaving it late to break though. It's Hodgson that's just about got it. There's one chance left now for Ben Luxton. They go up the hill towards Goddard's for the final time. Surely Will Hodgson's got him this time as they come out. No, Luxton is up there. They're side by side across the line, and how has he done that? Ben Luxton has won it again across the line ahead of Will Hodgson, and Will be wondering what he's got to do to get a win here at Donington Park. What a fabulous race that was from the 450s. And look at that, there's under a 1/10 of a second between them across the line. Nevertheless, Luxton wins from Hodgson. Lewis Rollo in 3rd place, a good podium for him ahead of Louis Dawson. And there he is, the race winner, Ben Luxton. What a move on the final corner. Heading into Snet then, 10 points between Hodgson and Luxton. Neatly poised heading into Norfolk. Baker in 3rd ahead of Wilford, Rollo and Dawson.
In competition, Aprilia RRV 450 GP, 3rd place, man. Nice to see you back here, Lewis.
Yeah, well, at Brands we never had a very good round. We got, well, our qualifying wasn't that bad, but we just couldn't get up with the front runners. But here at Donington, we obviously qualified bad again, got a better grid position today, and made up some positions in the race as well. So we're really happy to finish the weekend with a podium, and hopefully at the next round we can run up the front with Will and Ben, and hopefully give them a race and maybe win a few races to catch back up in the championship.
And who do you want to thank, mate?
I'd like to thank Kabuta Helmets, Robbie Doyles, Macintosh Mini Bikes, Alan for helping me, my dad, my brother for mechanicking, friends, family for support and help, just everybody, and everyone for good racing as well.
I know your best mates off circuit and all the rest of it, but that was just simply fantastic. Nip and tuck again. What an absolutely great weekend. Will, you first.
Yeah, it's been absolutely mega battling with Ben. You know, I always love a good scrap, but you know, I've been the bridesmaid this weekend and not the bride, but you know, not bothered. It's as long as we had a good race and everyone stayed on board, we all come in grinning. It's good news.
How do you feel about racing Will here?
Yeah, like Will said, it's been an absolute great weekend with everyone. It's just been amazing.
You just must have, I've said it once before, but you have so much respect for each other to ride that close and not knock each other off.
Well, you know, we've been riding with each other for a couple of years now, so you kind of know who's going to. I think if I was riding against me, I'd be a bit more worried about me coming off. But no, I've got a lot of faith and trust in Ben. You know, I know what he's a safe rider. There's no issues with what he's going to do. I mean, he's awesome into the last corner, and to be fair, you know, if I was in that position, I'd just do what he was doing to me. So it's all good. We love it. Love the racing.
Well, they're friends for now. Will they continue to be all the way through the season? Find out when you join us for Snetterton next month. Thanks for joining us here at Donny.